In this video, we're going to look at basic audio recording in Mixcraft 10. Whether it's guitars, vocals, or any other audio, the basics of recording are going to be the same. So if you need to create a new project, I'm going to go into the one that we created in the previous video. And now if you need to, you can create a new track. And one of the things that you're going to notice that's new in Mixcraft 10, if you're familiar with other versions, is this little switch here in some of the dialog menus. And this keeps this dialog menu open even if you click on something. So if I click on audio, it stays open and I can choose some of these other things. I can add more tracks, whatever it is. If this was off and I click audio, it just shuts down that menu. So that's a pretty cool new feature that you're going to notice in some of these dialog menus. Now, one of the things I like to do before I start recording is close down this bottom mixer area here. So you can just right click and hide details area. We don't really need the mixer open while we're recording. And another thing I'm going to do is change the BPM here. And I want it to be 150. I figured that out ahead of time. So if you don't know what BPM you're going to be recording in, you might want to play along to the click track or the metronome and figure out what BPM or tempo it is that you're going to be recording at, so you can set that before you start recording. Another thing we're going to do is set up our metronome. You can see right now it's not going to play at all because nothing's clicked in here. If we wanted, we could have it click on playback. I don't want that right now. I just want it for recording. So I'm going to click in here. And I also want this one here, recording count-in measures. And that's going to give us a little bit of a count-in before it actually starts recording. So you can hit the record button and you have a little bit of time to get ready to record. So we'll just click OK on that. And now we're already down here. We want to go up to our audio track. I'm going to be recording a bass guitar in, and it's just a bass guitar connected direct to my audio interface. So I need to go in here and choose what input I'm going to be recording. So we want to click on this little down arrow here. And I'm just going to toggle that on so this stays open here. And you can see right now by default, it's recording stereo 1 and 2. I just need input 1. That's where my bass guitar is connected. So you can choose whatever input it is. If you have more than just input 1 and 2 on your audio interface, you can click here and you can see all of your other inputs in here. So you could click on whatever one it is you need. And then also we can set some other things in here like the recording mode. And you can see there's 3 different recording modes. So we're going to look at all 3 of these. So be sure to stick around for all of them so you know how each one works. But to start out, I'm going to be looking at takes mode because that's probably going to be the most popular recording mode. It is for me anyway. We can also monitor this track. So if we click that on, that means we're going to hear whatever it is we're recording. There's a guitar tuner in there that you might want. You can arm this for the performance panel, which is something we're going to look at in a later video. And we can also arm this track for recording, which is what we need to do if we want to record this track. But I'm not going to click on that here. So I'm going to get out of here. And you can see from right in this area, I can click arm for recording. And if I play my bass, you can see there's a signal going in there, but we can't hear it yet. So we need to turn on the monitoring. Now, if I play, you can hear the bass guitar in there. Also, if you're recording a guitar and you need an amp sim loaded up, you can click on the effects there. That's something we'll look at in a later video. For this one, I'm just recording my bass dry into Mixcraft. So if we look at my bass signal, it's all right. I could probably turn it up a bit. I don't mind it where it is right there. But when you're setting your levels, if you're using an ASIO audio interface and you have the ASIO driver selected here in your sound device, and then you have your audio interface selected here, you need to set your levels with the gain knob on your audio interface. Don't use the fader on the mixer in Mixcraft. That's just like a volume. If you're using one of these other drivers in here, this area on the track right here will turn red, and there will actually be a little slider that you can turn up and down. And that's how you can set your levels. Some USB microphones, you're going to have to do that. And some older audio interfaces, maybe that don't have ASIO drivers for them, you'll have to do that. But I really recommend using ASIO if your audio interface has that driver available to it. You do have to go to the manufacturer's website to download that. It doesn't install automatically. And ASIO is going to give you the lowest possible latency for recording, which you're going to really appreciate. So now we're all ready to record. And one thing to note is where you want to start recording. So you can see when I click here, this yellow line or yellow bar appears, and that's where we're going to start recording. I like to start recording on bar 2 or 3. For this, I'll start recording on bar 2. And the way we start recording is click this little red button down in the transport area here. That will start the recording. We have everything ready to go. I'm going to click this. You're going to hear that little bit of a count in, and then you'll see we start recording. All right, so that's a very basic recording, and it really wouldn't matter what mode we were in if we were just doing like a free recording like that. So if you just want to go ahead and do some basic recording, that's how you do it. Now let's look at the recording modes and what each one does. So I'm going to get rid of that. And the first one we have is takes mode. And that's what we're in right now, but we didn't really take advantage of takes mode. To do that, I'm just going to highlight a 4-bar area here. And typically when I'm doing actual recording, I want more than just 4 bars, but for this video, 4 bars is going to be enough. Then I'm going to go down to this icon here, and this is going to turn on loop mode. So you can see when I turn it on, it's created this loop region right here. And you can actually move this loop region around if you want. You can make it bigger or smaller, whatever it is you want to do. You can do that with this loop region. I'm going to leave it where it is, as is. And in takes mode, what's going to happen is it's going to start recording here. It's going to go to the end, and then it's going to start recording here again. And it's going to record a new take every time it does a pass through. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so we have 4 takes here. This one really isn't a take. That's just where I turned it off. So let's get rid of that. I just hit delete on my computer keyboard and it's gone. And if we want to get rid of that lane, we can right click over here, go to lanes, and then we can click on delete empty lanes, and it kind of tidies our project up a bit. Now I know I messed up on this take, so I don't want that take, but if I wanted to listen to it, I could just unmute it by clicking this little icon on there, and we can play it back by clicking here. So that's where I messed up on that take. I'm going to mute that one, and we'll listen to this one now. So I like that take better, but if I like the beginning of this one better and the ending of that one, I could actually trim this up a little bit, do that, do this, and then I can kind of piece them together, and I have a master take from the two. Another thing we can do is we can click and drag these takes and bring them onto another track, or maybe drag them to a spot later on in the song. Whatever we want to do, we can do that. So that's the recording takes mode. Now let's get out of here. And now let's look at the overdub mode. So again, we're going to stick with this loop region. And what's going to happen this time is it's going to start our take here, and it's going to go to the end, and then it's going to restart at the beginning. But every time it does another pass, we're going to hear the previous take. So it's just going to layer all of our takes. And the more takes you have, the more you're going to hear it layered. And that could be cool if you're recording a rhythm guitar, and then maybe you want to record lead guitar over top of it, or another rhythm guitar, or maybe you want to record vocals over top of it, something like that. You can continue to do that, or you can continue to do the same take of the same instrument if that's what you want to do. Let's have a look at how Overdub's mode works. So you can hear it's getting louder as each take goes on because we're just overdubbing it. We keep creating new takes. And again, you can delete them from here, move them all around. The same thing that we did with the last one. You can even mute some of these if you want. Again, it's very similar to the takes method, except for this time, it's not muting each take. So let's get out of here. And now we'll look at the replace mode. And as the name suggests, when we start, it's going to go to the end here, start again, but each pass is going to replace the previous one. So you're not getting a bunch of takes. You're just getting one recording. And now what I recommend to do in this mode is start about a bar before you actually want to record and finish about a bar after. So set your loop region up like that. So if we want to start on bar 2, we want our recording to start on bar 2, and we want it to end on bar 6 here. We want to actually extend this so it goes beyond, because when you need to stop your recording, you're going to need a little bit of a buffer time, or else it's going to keep recording over top of your track. So let's just check out what replace does. So you can see it started to replace at the beginning here, but I gave myself enough time to hit the stop button so I didn't replace the stuff that I actually wanted. And now you can trim this up so it's not actually in the bars that you don't want. And you can delete that little clip at the beginning, and you'll notice nothing underneath. We just have the one take. So that's your 3 record modes. The one I use all the time is takes mode, but I'm sure you can find a use for some of these other modes if you want. And now you know they're there and you know how to use them. In the next video, we're going to look at using virtual instruments and MIDI.